Hi guys, I'm Yelena and this is my channel Soul Sessions. I am a student of astrology, intuitive soul coach, and a yoga teacher. Now in today's video, I'm going to be giving you a horoscope of the up and coming astrological energies starting yesterday, March 19th, sorry about the delay, through March 25th. Now it is official. Happy Spring Equinox and Astrological New Year to all of you. We had a very rare supermoon, full moon in Libra yesterday. It'll be the last supermoon of the entire year. And the sun has officially moved out of the watery, emotional sign of Pisces into the independent and strong, motivated sign of Aries. Happy solar return month for all of you Aries out there. Now, you don't have to know any background on astrology or previous education of it to understand any of this. Just keep watching because I'm going to break it down for you. So stay tuned. Now, just to make all of you guys aware, none of this information that I ever give you in any of my astrological videos is going to be 100% true to your situation at this time, or will the energy be something that you'll specifically be affected by? And you're probably saying, well, then why is this even beneficial to give astrological advice? But astrology has a lot to do with being in alignment with our true selves and with our path in life. And if we're on that path and we're in alignment, then the energy will tend to work for our benefit, okay? So positive things will be happening in our lives. Everything will kind of just go as planned. And if we're not in alignment, that's when the energies will do something in our lives to make us aligned, okay? So I just wanted everybody to have a little bit better understanding of what this is all about. So just keep in mind when listening, okay? So here we go. Now, this is my absolute favorite time of the year. I am a May-born baby, so I guess you could say that I am a little bit partial to spring, but the feeling of endings and new beginnings that are taking place right now, you can sense it in the air, the smell of spring. It just brings this motivating force into my life that I love so much, and I've heard so many people say the same thing. This Pisces season hasn't been easy, and let's face it, this winter has not been easy. It's definitely encouraged us to take a deep dive into the parts of ourselves that we usually wouldn't want to face, but we've been forced to, and that will only bring more growth in our lives. So it's a positive thing. But the sun is moving into exaltation today with the switch of Aries. Now, if you don't know what this means, the sun, for instance, is a planet representing the element of fire, that motivating element of fire. And it hasn't been in a fire sign for the past 3 deep, dark winter months. So it hasn't necessarily been operating at its full potential, its full strength. Right now, it's exalted once again. It's extremely happy and it's almost at full power being in the sign of Aries, which is also a fire sign. So now this helps all of us in one way or another, whether we're Aries or not, okay? So we're gonna need this extra little boost of motivation and this fire to be lit inside of us, because in order for these fresh starts that we're embarking upon to begin, we do have to purge the old first. And I feel like we've been going through a cycle of purging. If you look back at any of my old videos and astrological updates, we've been going through a big purge cycle. But we must purge first, purge the old, so we can reach 0 point. Now, how does this full moon tie in? This full moon is in Libra, which is an air sign, and it's all about balance, justice, and relationships with other people and with ourselves. Now, when you add air to fire, what does this make more of? Fire, yes. So this is making us feel that in order to be who we truly are and our most authentic selves, in order to move forward in our lives, we need other people in some way. It's making us feel that way, which is true in one sense, but not fully. And this is exactly where the balance needs to come into play. Relationships are definitely important to all human beings, whether they be friendship, romantic, or business related. But with Mercury retrograde still going on in the sign of Pisces, which can make things a bit hazy and confusing, make us be more imaginative and not really grounded here on Earth, this tends to be skewing our perception of reality a bit. We are on the precipice of exiting some very confusing energy, thank God. But we haven't quite yet exited, and we're kind of just waiting around in it. So we might really want or feel like we absolutely need help from other people at this time, whether it be relying on somebody for money, or maybe it's to find a job, we rely on someone, or maybe relying on someone, something having to do with our day-to-day routines. Whatever it might be, it's bringing up a lot of questions inside of us. And we really need to realize that we cannot rely solely on our relationships with other people to get where we want to go in our future. Especially with the sun being in Aries right now, this is a time for us to realize our independence and our strength without relying on anyone or anything at all. Now, this could also have to do with people relying on you. It can be a back and forth street. Maybe there are people in your life that are relying on you way too much. This is an assessment that you need to make. These are just predictions. This is just my analyzation of what is going on in the sky right now. So you kind of have to take this information and put it as a template over your life. How is this affecting you? And that will make a lot more sense to you in that sense. Don't take everything as literal as how I say it. I'm just giving you the grounds and the basic information to make sense of it in your own light. Okay, so I want to go back for a second to the beginnings and endings phase that I touched on earlier. We have something pretty rare occurring in April. So each full moon that occurs every single month from month to month is almost always, without a doubt, in different zodiac signs, okay? But not for March and April, which is really interesting, and it has a lot to do with the theme that we're discussing right now. We have the full moon in March and at the end of April, both in Libra. And to top it off, both of these full moons are occurring in the 7th house, which is the house of our closest relationships. So this next month is going to have a double emphasis on who we have in our lives and why. I can't help but notice that this has something major to do with the entire month's theme about observing the important relationships we have in our lives over the course of this next month to make sure that every one of them is in line with who we are and where we're headed over the next few months. And the next full moon in Libra in April, at the very end of April, being the culmination point where we decide who's to stay and who's to go. Now, I don't necessarily mean who's to stay and who's to go, because this is not energy that's all about kicking people out of our lives, okay? It could just mean, where do we need to make little tweaks and adjustments in our relationships? This is an important time to be in touch fully with who you are, okay? And to not give your energy away to anyone or anything for that matter. And that is not in line with all this that we're discussing right now. You need to make assessments, not necessarily kick people out of your lives, like I said. Maybe you need to do something, cut something out of somebody's lives that relies a little bit too heavier on you so that they can gain their independence from you and grow as a person in their lives. Now, there may be some relationships that look like they could go one way right now and end up just not working out for you at all. Yes, this can be very difficult, but at the same time, and with a lot of these energies coming, we do need to learn to pick and choose our battles and not try to hold on to things that are past their expiration date, because this is when things could get even more difficult for us if we try and hold on to things that just weren't right for us. This is when you need to be able to connect your intuitive sense of just knowing if something's right or wrong with your logical ability to think it through and make a decision and just stick with it. So also this week, the sun is coming into a conjunction, which that's an astrological term that means they're really, really close in the sky, with the planet of Neptune, and Neptune rules Pisces. With all this Piscean energy, this energy is just, it has one last grab at us, one last long grab at us to make it a little bit more hazy and confusing. So we might know what direction we need to go in at this time, but we might not have any answers at all of how we're going to get there or how exactly it's going to play out. And this necessarily is not the time for us to try to make any crazy decisions or make any wild plans that are just set in stone. Let's just kind of roll with it for a little bit longer. We're going through this ending right now, and soon enough, after this Mercury retrograde ends on the 28th especially, we'll start to begin seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and seeing how things are going to pan out for us a little bit more. So just hang in there. I'm with you guys on this one. To put a little spin on things here, besides relationships that we're focusing on right now, I do believe that the energy of this spring equinox and the full moon has a lot to do with just letting go in general. With this whole endings, new beginnings, and exiting winter, entering spring, letting go of the old to make room for the new that's to come. Now, whatever house in your specific birth chart Libra rules is going to tell you more about the area of your life that this has to do with. The context of the situation per se. Now, if you go to, I would say, there's a couple different websites that I use for free birth charts. You can go to astro.com, or to make it even easier, you can go to astrological.com, and on the top you'll see a little button that says free birth chart calculator. You just put in your name, your time of birth, your date of birth, and where you were born, and it'll pull up a little thing that's a big circle. It's your zodiac wheel. And it's split off into pie sections. All those 12 pie sections are the houses of the zodiac. And those are the different topics, the different contextual aspects of your life, for instance, okay? So if you look outside, there's a little line that goes around the birth chart outside of the houses. And in each house outside, you'll see a different zodiac sign. So that shows you the zodiac signs that rule each house. So you want to find what house Libra falls in. Let me give you an example. For instance, this full moon falls in my fourth house. The fourth house rules the home and family, the place that you live, all of your closest family members, those types of things, your ancestry. So you kind of have to, there's many different ways of interpreting how this will affect you. But for me, I know exactly what this means. I just recently found out that the owner of my house that I rent is selling, and I have to find a new place to move. And I wasn't distraught or anything, but I definitely love my house, and I've had a really good run with this house. I love it. It does make me sad a little bit to let it go, but it's all about letting it go. I've done a lot of things recently. I've been following my goals, my dreams, and I feel like I'm getting a little bit of an upgrade in my life in many different areas, and the house is probably one of them. So I'm going to be more optimistic about it, and just know that whatever house is going to come for me in the future is going to be amazing, and even more amazing than this one here. So we can look at things on the bright side. Even though they might not look amazing right here and now, everything happens for a specific reason. Even if the current situation makes you a little bit uncomfortable, maybe it's going to push you to a place that is absolutely beautiful and what your soul truly wants for you. So anyways, I just thought that example might help a little bit. It doesn't necessarily, for me, have to do specifically with any relationships with my family. It's my relationship with my home. So I'm just giving you an example to help you interpret your chart. On a little lighter note, so I like to end on a lighter note sometimes, Aries season is all about firsts. It's the first sign of the zodiac, the start of the new year, astrologically. It also represents the start of spring, and Aries is the child of the zodiac with its sense of adventure and curiosity and all the first things that it does. So if you've been wanting to try something new, now is the perfect time to do it. Time to start a new hobby, ask your crush out on a first date, take a trip somewhere that you've never been, maybe buy your first home. Whatever it is, go for it. And some people may disagree with me, being that Mercury is still in retrograde until the 28th, but I disagree wholeheartedly. Mercury retrograde doesn't mean you have to hide out in a cave until it stations direct. Just obviously be more aware of your surroundings and take an extra bit of caution, and you will be completely fine. Enough of the superstitions already. Now, I'm going to keep this week's video brief, but I do hope that this was helpful to all of you, and I wish you the best week ahead. Thank you for tuning in as always, and if you enjoyed the content, please do me a favor, hit the like button below, leave me a comment, share it with your friends, and please make sure to hit the subscribe button for weekly astrological and spiritual content. Peace.